Hey guys, it's Crossroads here. Today I want to talk to you about HIMS. Specifically, they released a product this week, which is an absolute game changer for their ecosystem. I call it like I see it. This might be dead money through the end of the year. It has been so far. It's one of the reasons why I reduced my position. But if we continue falling into the new year, I'm absolutely going to be adding. And this is a big reason why. Now, what is this? Now, a little bit of context. They did several acquisitions this year. One of those, which was on the small side, was Tribe Labs back in February, which was an in-home testing, a blood testing system where they're doing blood draws with Lancets. You send those in. You're looking at biomarkers and all sorts of different things. This is an evolution beyond that, with a few differences. The main one is primarily you're going to one of 2,000 clinics all around the United States to actually have the blood draw done for you. Probably it's more of an issue of the amount of blood that would be needed for testing 120 biomarkers. Not sure on that, but it's one of those things where people might be more comfortable in that in a clinical setting. Anyway, so what exactly is HIM Labs and why am I so bullish on this? Well, here is more information on this. We're going to take a look at how this works, what it looks like, and then lastly, how it fits in the flywheel and what I think it will do for the HIMS ecosystem as well. We'll also take a little bit of a look at the competition. All right, so they launched this and they said, hey, Better Health starts with labs up to 120 tests. So it's not you're going through 120 tests, but instead you do the blood draw once and they can test for up to 120 biomarkers, 10 vital health areas, and we'll look at those areas in a moment. Doctor developed action plans from $199 a year, and we'll look at those plans. So here is, if we look up just a little bit further, we can see that there's a bunch of biomarkers that this is involved in. So you have health, heart health, you have metabolic, and all these different areas. You can click on these and it'll tell you what these are specifically. Some note are just in the advanced plan: hormone health, inflammation and stress, thyroid health, kidney health, liver health, and immune defense, nutrients, blood, and then lastly, biological age, if that's something that matters to you. And it may or may not, but you can click on that and find out why it matters as well. So what exactly does this product look like? We know it tests things, but we actually have a really good look. And I love the way that the HIMS did this. They also came out with like a 15-minute video that if you're an investor or if you're involved in the platform, maybe worth a look at for you. I think it's a really great read. But anyway, yeah, this is what it looks like when you get your test. You're going to see all your biomarkers that you're testing for. In this case, it's 75 biomarkers. And we can see that here, they just do a good job with customers making it feel very personal because it is personalized. 66 for this person are optimal, 3 are in range, and 6 are out of range. And then it goes into what is specifically out of range. Now, if that was all they did, they just tested it like that, that would be like, okay, that's almost meaningless. Not quite, but it's not a huge market. Now, what gets really exciting is this action plan right here. Now, is everything actionable by HIMS? No. Like if they catch some things that indicate that you might have cancer, they will tell you like, hey, go get yourself checked out. You need to do this. And there's many things that they'll refer out as well. But they're building quite a flywheel and ecosystem. And so what they're able to do is basically put on together an action plan. Not all of these, by the way, are going to be specific to HIMS products. It's one of the things I've liked. I've not used any products yet for HIMS, by the way, full disclaimer. This might actually be the first. It's very interesting to me. I'm 45. I don't have a lot of health issues. I haven't had a lot of health issues, but I need to start doing some regular checkups. And this might be my preferred way of doing that, even though I do have insurance. The price point is nice, and I like seeing this. But regardless, they're able to come up with an action plan and say, okay, like here specifically with metabolic health, let's look at what's out of range and why. Here you can see an offer of a GLP-1 treatment solution, and you could click and see how that helps you. Now, there might be some things, and you'll see this, by the way, with HIMS products. I experimented with the weight loss flow just to see what that looked like before I became an investor. And I was impressed that they recommended things in addition to their products like sleep and like, of course, monitoring what you eat. So it was not just, the focus on nutrition. It was not just only trying to shove HIMS products at you, but that is part of it. Biological age, you can see what that looks like there. Heart health specifically, it says that this is an area that needs attention for this example. And so it goes through and talks about what that actually looks like. LDL cholesterol is too high. And then right here, again, biological age, another example too. So letting you know and what you can actually do to improve that as well. So what does this actually look like? Well, we can see here It says that here's the 10 vital areas, by the way, that we already looked at previously. You can see all those markers there. We can click on those, read more about them. Biological age, there that is again. Action plan is probably the most important part of that too. So, and here they say your action plan is tailored for you to improve your results, access lifestyle guidance, and if eligible, doctor trusted treatment plans to work towards progress before your next test. So they will give that to you. And you can see right here, by the way, sleep, nutrition. It's not all about like shoving HIMS products at you. It's actually trying to make you better. Now, one of the things that I liked about this as well is they mentioned this in the press release when they launched this. With rising costs, limited provider availability, and a bias towards a one-size-fits-all care, today's healthcare system is not built to keep people healthy. I largely agree with that. I mean, you can look at the state of where we're at as a nation. 70% of medical decisions depend on a lab test. And so that's exactly what they're providing here is better access to that. Now, there is competition out there. And so let's take a look at some of that competition. By the way, if you're curious, you can read more in one of my recent posts here on X. And I go into a lot of detail. By the way, this right here kind of shows the TAM of this market. Now, if HIMS was just into this type of lab testing, I would not really be that excited just because you can see the CAGR is like under 10%. It's not amazing for specifically direct to consumer laboratory testing, and it's not a huge market. But I actually think this is from 2024, by the way. There's several other research firms that have come out with similar numbers as well. But I think that they might be wrong on a couple of aspects. One is like the competition is actually accelerating really rapidly in this area. It seems like that there's more demand than what I understood initially when HIMS acquired Tribes Labs, but also that flywheel effect that we'll look at in just a moment. So anyway, going back to my post on X, we can see competition. I've looked at basically several of the leading names here: Function Health, Everlywell, Inside Tracker, and Merrick Diagnostics. Now, I don't want to go into each of those, but the big takeaway is HIMS is not trying to just have the lowest price point and that's it, but instead they're offering a competitive price point. Some are a little bit cheaper, some are actually most are a little bit more expensive, but I don't think that they're subsidizing this to the point where it's just a loss leader like a Costco chicken or anything like that. But instead that this is something that might actually drive a little bit of revenue initially, but it's more about the flywheel. So the biggest competitor on that from my assessment is probably Function Health. Again, this is not a space I know really, really well. You can look at all of these, though, from Merrick, Inside Tracker, Everlywell, and Function Health, and others. But here is Function Health. Function Health is kind of interesting because you can see here they actually have more lab tests than HIMS. It's 160 versus 130. Let me pause that. Now, like HIMS, so there's two plans, and actually I need to go into that too. There's a basic plan and there's advanced plan. The advanced plan to test for 2 times a year, just like Function here, and no insurance. So probably those that are operating and making decisions at HIMS took a look at the competition, including Function, and were like, hey, we like that. We're definitely going to do that because this is something that you'll want to track for most of us rather than just get a one-time read. Now, the cost is $365 a year. That's $1 per day. Used to be more expensive, but they had lowered that price point. Commoditization might be a factor. Maybe price points will continue to get cheaper. But yeah, again, this is a near peer. And you can see, just like with HIMS, well, if we click to see how it works, you can see start with 100 lab tests every year. Month 1, you're looking at this. Let's see, I've not played. Oh, yeah, there we go. So you can review results and the biomarkers. You can have it retested as well, 3 to 6 months to see what's changing, depending on what you're looking at, spotting red flags. And this, by the way, is all over the place as far as marketing. They market really well, just like HIMS as well. And so it's interesting. Now, if you look at what they test, it's also, it says ignored by most, tested by us. There are some things like lead and lipase and anoscreen, omega-3, that others don't test. But you'll see a lot of these, like LDLs, total cholesterol, thyroid, all of these things are things that they test for. Now, some of these are add-ons you can see right here. But in other words, what I'm trying to say is with HIMS and the product that they're offering, it's very similar. Now, why would I mention the competition? Well, for one, I want to understand, are they just trying to undercut the competition and drive volume? I don't think that's the case at all because I've seen the price points. There is something to do that, but there are some of the plans that are out there which are as cheap or nearly as cheap as HIMS and test just as well, although there's some very expensive ones like Merrick Diagnostics being almost $900 as well. Now, what's interesting is just to see how these have scaled. So Function Health that I mentioned said that they have delivered 45 million results to their members. Now, it's not 45 million people, but that's a customer base that they're doing this on a regular basis with. We can also there's several of these as well. Inside Tracker, for one, has done this for over 100,000 customers. This, by the way, is more of an athletes or athletics type of testing system more than health and screening like what HIMS offers. So why am I so excited? If there's credible competition out there, and I think that there is, and HIMS is not just trying to drive the commoditization of this market. We've seen the CAGR. I think it's understated, but it's still fairly small. It's because of this right here. This is from Q2, I believe. Actually, Q2, their investor presentation. They show this graphic and bring it out fairly often, and this is their flywheel. So this is one of those things where it fills every aspect of this. So this will lead some customers to join HIMS, but even more so, it gives them additional data and insights, which is great for MedMatch, and also helps that deeper level of personalization that HIMS offers. It helps them also realize, by the way, beyond the personalization, what products are missing from their ecosystem that are just invaluable. And they can do acquisitions or they can develop their own products, however that works, or whatever is best for their ecosystem. And that in turn delivers higher quality outcomes, which brings in more subscribers as well. So the flywheel is not just that, but we can also look at their product roadmap and where they're at internationally. We can see Canada, they're just starting in January, by the way, with semaglutide. Europe through Zava, they've expanded there. They had a little presence before, but not much. And we can see that, of course, the United States is their main focus. Now, this is Q2, so they have released a lot of their hormone health products. They are releasing and have released some of their longevity type of products as well. And they're releasing these all the time. Now, what does this mean, again, for HIMS Labs? As they continue to grow and develop, their goal is not just to help a person with, for instance, dermatology. If they do, great, that's awesome. But going back to that flywheel, what they want to do is help somebody with perhaps their skin issue with dermatology, but that the person might stay and say, you know what? I need help with my weight. I need help with depression. I need help with sexual health. I need help with hormone health or longevity or something else along those lines. Or they may not even be aware, but they see something like that. They're like, I've not felt well in a while. I've gone to my doctor. They've done a couple of tests. Let me do something a little bit more comprehensive. And so they go and order this from a platform that they already know and trust. They get their results delivered in a very clear way. Again, look at the video and you can see just the level of personalization they put into that. It feels very personable and warm and very concrete action steps as well. And that will in turn perhaps convert some from just one product to multiple products. Now, this is also a product where, again, they have a basic testing, they have advanced testing, where they can, for existing users, if they really want to drive subscription and drive that flywheel, they can offer one-time promotions or special promotions for certain types of customers that are having certain types of conditions where they have seen it deliver really important results for individuals and customers, but it also informs that next aspect of the flywheel as well. So yeah, this is a pretty amazing ad. It's something that we'll have to see really how it scales. I'm not guessing that day one that this means all of a sudden, boom, HIMS explodes. But I think over time, this really ramps their acceleration in the next year. Now, I personally see HIMS as probably fairly dead money from now until maybe Q1, Q2 next year. I think in the second half or possibly a bit earlier next year, we're going to see HIMS, their core, really reaccelerate and get beyond the GLP-1 lapping benefits that just fueled their ecosystem so much. A lot of people thought, hey, this is just a weight loss play. It's not. It's an ecosystem that they're building. And as long as they continue to execute, I'll be very pleased to continue to hold. If the price gets cheaper or the execution gets better, I will not be afraid to add. And I think this is a great addition for the HIMS ecosystem. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Until next time, happy investing.